Hello, dear friends. I wouldn't speak of madness and confusion if I had not experienced it myself. Opinion piece. Crazy week. We are on a life mission. Confusion in the final days. Everything happens in divine time. Learning to dance with chaos. Stillness will be your greatest resource. This process is elusive and slippery. Disinformation of the end times. Waiting for a triggering event. The ox is slow, but the earth is patient. We have to live with lack of information. Collective madness as the system collapses. This year, 2022, we will leave the third dimension behind us. Humankind will be immortal and Earth paradise. Half of the world's population is already in gold value. Let's start. This is the craziest week I can remember. Tasks pile up. Things get lost and things get forgotten, which could lead to a nervous breakdown or an attempt to calm down and learn for the patience of the ox. The ox is slow, but the earth is patient. As a Chinese sage once said, it is time to learn to take it life philosophically and resolve matters with method and patience, step by step, slowly and with good handwriting, because the human resonance is being triggered. Individual and collective madness is the result of the resistance to change, of trying to hold on the behaviors that no longer work with the new frequency. The world has changed and some want to make it worse than before, while others want to make it better. For now, the task is to make sure that the structure collapses without destroying the planet. The powers that be are very nervous about losing control and not wanting to acknowledge that the game is over, as has been officially declared. So they make absurd decisions that no longer work in a desperate attempt to maintain their position. The elite are descending into what can only be described as collective madness as their web of control collapses. The turmoil is present in the world, within the heart of humankind, but it doesn't have to be this way, for we are all in the process of connecting with the deep path of inner unity, or dancing with the chaos. In the days ahead, stillness will be your greatest resource, your greatest currency, your greatest asset. The deep stillness of peace, of one who has found their connection and who remember themselves in the experience of the earth. Those who can feel this are the leaders of today. You will connect more in line with your higher dimensional frequencies. Confusion. We have all realized by now that this confusion of late regarding to the exact timing and operation of the reevaluation of currencies, as they do not want us to know the timing or the period of operation. We have to live with this end times misinformation. The coalition is publishing correct information, but you have to know where to find it and then be willing to dig, as I do every day. It is possible to reconstruct a rough understanding of what the QFS is and how it works, but even here, the information is often contradictory, incomplete, and potentially misleading. But all hope is not lost for the truly dedicated seeker of knowledge. The coalition has provided a description of what the new system is and how it will work. In Ron Giles' writings over the last 2 years, you will find everything you need to know about exactly how the QFS works. Life mission. We are on a mission by Steve Biko. No one is going to change the script for me except myself. Mom and Dad aren't here anymore. Big Brother isn't even here anymore. I have to take myself in hand. The mind is infinitely capable of doing that. The self is even more capable. It's not just my mission, it is the mission. We, lightworkers, are on a mission to reverse the slide of the world economy into elitism at the expense of the majority. We are on a mission to make the desert a watered plain, wherever it is deserted inside and out, to restore Gaia Earth and ourselves. We are on a mission to prepare the wounded, abused, and despised for an increase in consciousness and escape from all adverse conditions. We are on a mission to build a new earth, to bring heaven to earth, to create a world that works for all. No more waiting. Get to work. You have gone the other way and you have seen that it leads nowhere, to no satisfaction, no vitality, no love. Opinions. First, Holly's opinion. We have had many lessons on this journey. We have been modeled to be the best version of ourselves. We have been transformed in the process, and through the pressure, we have become the sparkling diamonds that we are. It was told things could be crazy this week, so be careful. System collapse. According to Gene the Code, the world banking system is collapsing, and a lot of things are going into gold value. Food shortages are also relative because only 5% of the supply chain is broken. So not everything they say is happening would be real, but rather exaggerated. Third, triggering event by Mark Zeta. Some say we are living through a tired repetition of Groundhog Day, but I think we are just waiting for a triggering event. Many say we are witnessing the systematic destruction of the old God. Just remember that we are the light, and the light dispels the darkness. Keep your frequency high. Pray, meditate, sing an amazing song. Let that love shine through you. Fourth, Elusive Financial Restart by Ralph B. I believe a revaluation of the Iraqi dinar is just around the corner. As for a revaluation of other currencies, I don't think that will happen for some time, because all the preparations for such a huge undertaking have not been completed. But this is only an opinion. 5. Storm Raider update. Twitter exposure, fake bots, lies to shareholders, $1 billion loss to advertisers, and breach of contracts are all in the news. The plan is well laid out by the white hats. Billionaires around the world know that major tech companies are going down and are heading for upcoming investigations and indictments. Panic. First, watch the market panic. A global meltdown is brewing. Second, Deutsche Bank in Germany is collapsing, which would affect the Federal Reserve, as both banks are the pillars of the global banking system. Third, the World Bank's announcement of an additional $12 million in project funding to address the global food crisis, bringing the total to $30 billion, was in fact an official announcement of the global food crisis. Fourth, half of the world's population, or more than 3 billion people, have already switched to a gold-backed system. China, Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, and many more countries not mentioned in the media are now operating on the new system. It took only 72 hours to implement the new system and trade with 12 countries. 5. Chinese stocks plunge as tech stocks fall. Investors weight possible tariff cuts on Chinese goods. 6. Insiders say Bitcoin will rise before the crash and then plunge. The ripple effect will be felt from country to country as China's stocks and companies reach all nations. Collapse. Planet Earth no longer vibrates in the third dimension. Its minimum frequency range is in 4D, but it wouldn't remain in that frequency for long either. You can already feel the activations of 5D, 6D and 7D. This year 2022 will be historic, as we will leave the third dimension behind. Many are feeling this energy shift now. One characteristic of this shift is the strange symptoms that most are experiencing in their bodies on a physical and emotional level. We don't know when the 4D will also be left behind, but it will not be long. According to some references, there are six stages in total, and we are now completing the third. Therefore, let us hope that after this current year, the world as we know it will not be the same. The energies of Gaia are shifting. As a result, there will be some massive shifts taking place throughout the year 2022. This shift has been predicted in ancient times, but is not known to today's society. This energy shift is affecting all aspects of your life on physical, emotional, and mental and spiritual levels, as well as the planet itself. You may have noticed that others around you do not see what you do or hear what you hear. You are a light worker and have been for a long time. Your experiences have been different from those of others, but doesn't make them any less important or valid than those of others. The ascension process is for everyone, not yet those who are waking on Gaia. Ascension is also happening at a much faster pace now, and it may seem that you are drawing in all these experiences. Immortality. Humankind will become immortal and the new Earth will be a paradise, according to Aurora Array. The transition from carbon-based to crystalline-based genetic code has been described as a quantum leap in humankind's evolution. The transition process is already underway and will continue for some time. During the transition period, existing carbon bodies will gradually be replaced by crystalline-based light bodies. These light bodies are actual physical manifestations of the new crystalline grid that is gradually appearing within the collective consciousness field of Earth. Therefore, they are not ethereal or astral in nature. These new bodies exist in physical form as your current bodies, but are composed of more refined matter and energy, and more finely tuned to the resonant frequency of your true self, your eternal essence that exists beyond time and space. The universal law of attraction will cause your consciousness to be drawn to these new crystalline forms so that you may occupy them and join with all those who have already made this transition and help co-create the new Earth along with them. We have forgotten the secret of immortality since ancient times, but when we come to the new Earth, we will regain that knowledge and become immortal beings. There is no death on the new Earth. The new Earth will be a paradisiacal place. On the old Earth there was death and separation of the masculine and feminine energies, which caused us to face many problems in our daily lives. On the new earth, there will be no death, and this separation will be eliminated. There will only be oneness. The new earth exists in the same space as the old earth, but it is on a higher dimensional level. The energy of the two earths influence each other. Therefore, eventually humankind will move to the new earth, and our consciousness will ascend to higher levels of knowledge and spiritual development. The new earth is not an actual physical planet as you know it now, but a dimension that exists above the old earth called the fifth dimension. The old earth is still under the dominion of darkness. The new earth will be ruled by light. Freedom. The old earth had all kinds of problems, such as war, terrorism, natural calamities, poverty, unemployment, disease, etc. But they will not exist on the new earth. The new earth will be a place of peace and happiness. We have to prepare ourselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually for that day, because on that day there will be no turning back for anyone. The new earth is described as a world free of all vices, crimes, and diseases. There is no need for money, and everyone shares their material possessions with those who are less fortunate than themselves. The inhabitants of the new earth are said to be in perfect health and free from any disease, illness, or physical defect. They never have accidents or experience death before their natural lifespan. Special emphasis is placed on freedom from any kind of physical pain. This freedom is not limited only to the inhabitants themselves, but also extends to animals and plants, and even to insects, which we might consider pests. The new earth will be a spiritual world where living beings will be in constant communication with God. The world itself is sacred, and everything in it is alive with the divine presence. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.